Hello, in today's video we will be exploring the Camassia Natural Area, often called the Camassia Natural Preserve, which is a hidden 26-acre gem located right across the Willamette River from Oregon City. It is a stunning place to visit or take pictures, especially during wildflower season. Here's all the information you need to know for your next visit. The park is located in a neighborhood residential area, so the actual parking lot is quite small and only consists of a few spots. We ended up parking a little bit down the street and just walked to the trailhead. Because it is owned and carefully protected by the Nature Conservancy, the park has strict rules. There are absolutely no dogs or pets allowed. Even on a leash, dogs are strictly prohibited. Bicycles are also not permitted, as well as collecting any plants, flowers, or rocks, and drones are also illegal. The park is open daily from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. There are no entry or parking fees, however there is an optional donation slot at the trailhead kiosk to help fund ongoing volunteer restoration work. Parking is located at the end of Walnut Street in a quiet residential neighborhood. As I mentioned before, the designated parking lot is very small, fitting only about 4 to 5 cars. It can get quite busy during wildflower season, so be sure to arrive early in order to beat the crowd. Please note that the boardwalks can get incredibly slippery when it is wet, and the boardwalk is a little uneven, so sturdy shoes with good traction are highly recommended. The thin, rocky soil of the basalt plateau creates a highly unique mix of habitats, including meadows, marshes, ponds, and dry woodlands. There are over 400 plant species that thrive in this natural area, including the common Camassia flower, which is the preserve's namesake flower. In April and early May, the meadows are covered with a stunning blanket of purple-blue blooms. Historically, these bulbs of the flowers were vital and highly valued food sources for the Pacific Northwest Native Americans. White rock larkspur flowers are rare white-blossomed flowers that grow at this natural area and only 6 other documented locations on the entire planet. In springtime, you may also find Oregon fawn lilies, western trilliums, sea blushes, and many other different types of flowers. The absolute best time to visit the Camassia Natural Area is from mid-April through early May. This brief window is when the preserve's iconic blue-purple common Camassia flower lilies reach their stunning peak bloom. Please note that poison oak grows abundantly throughout the rocky edges, so visitors must always stay on the designated walking paths in order to avoid brushing against some of this dreaded poison oak. The park provides a perfect spot for photo shoots, however you cannot step off the dirt trails or the wooden boardwalks under any circumstances. Camas lilies and rare native larkspur have extremely fragile root systems that can be destroyed if you step on them. The history of the preserve is quite interesting. Long before settlers arrived, the land was actively managed and used by local indigenous peoples. The area wasn't just a pretty meadow, it was a highly valuable farm. Tribal women cultivated the common Camas lily for its onion-like root bulb, which they would dig up and fire roast in order to be eaten. To keep the Camas thriving, the tribes intentionally set controlled, low-intensity fires across the Willamette Valley every autumn. This cleared out invasive brush and young Douglas fir trees, allowing the sun-loving Camas flowers and the fire-resistant Oregon white oak trees to dominate the landscape. In the mid-1800s, as thousands of European pioneers flooded into Oregon City, traditional indigenous fire management was stopped. Without regular fires, the open meadows began to disappear as dense thickets of brush and tall trees slowly crept in and choked out the sun, threatening the ancient Camas population. By the mid-20th century, the city of West Linn was rapidly expanding. Because of the property's prime location on a hill overlooking the river, it was highly threatened by suburban housing development and industrial quarrying. However, the Nature Conservancy recognized the extreme value of the remaining Camas and rare wildflowers, so they stepped in and acquired the 26 acres in the year 1962. This plot officially became the organization's very first nature preserve in the entire state of Oregon. Even today, the park is most famous for its Camas flowers. The official difficulty rating for the main Camassia Preserve Loop Trail is easy, and I would agree. However, even though it is rated easy, it is not entirely wheelchair accessible or stroller friendly. There are sections of the loop that cross bare dirt, uneven deck boards, exposed tree roots, basalt rocks, and a short flight of 5 wooden steps. Furthermore, I heard that if it has rained recently, the wooden boardwalk segments become incredibly slippery. Here I added a few photos of when we first visited this park, and both visits we did not make it during wildflower season, so that is something that I still want to do. The trail is only a total of 0.6 miles for the entire loop. However, one could walk over a mile if they wandered along the other trails along the loop. The trail remains relatively flat with only 39 feet of total elevation gain. It takes the average person about 12 to 20 minutes to walk, unless of course you're filming a video, taking pictures, or stopping to smell the flowers. A couple of other things to know is that the main loop is designed as a counterclockwise one-way system in order to protect the narrow trails and sensitive vegetation. At the main entrance of the trailhead, begin on the trail to your right and you will eventually end on the trail to your left when you're facing the park information sign. There are also incredible lookout views throughout the trail. On the east side of the loop, it opens up to a beautiful view of Mount Hood on a clear day. Although it somewhat feels like you're in the middle of nowhere, there is the Interstate 205 that runs directly along the base of the hill right below the preserve, so the sound of traffic can be heard, especially during some parts of the trail more than others, but it was hardly noticeable, at least to me personally, and I didn't mind it. There are also plenty of wildlife watching opportunities, as you can regularly spot nesting ospreys, hummingbirds, turkey vultures, rabbits, and deer. I'd say that the trail has a nice even split of cool shady forests and open exposed meadows. We went on a warm day, but it wasn't too hot since there was plenty of shade under the trees. Here you can see a close-up of the map. We went on the main loop, however you can see all those little trails that go out from the loop, which provide even more walking opportunities. One thing that I really like about Oregon summers is the wild blackberries that grow everywhere in Oregon. You can just pick some and eat them as you like. And they're very delicious. Here are some pictures that I took on our walk. And there you have it, all the information you need to know about the Camassia Nature Preserve. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and join me in my next video, which will feature some more fun things to do in Oregon City, including the iconic elevator, beautiful promenade walk, stunning views, and delicious restaurant. See you there!